Cancer. Just hearing the word can make your stomach drop. Almost everyone knows someone who's battled it, someone who fought hard, someone who survived, or someone we lost. But here's the part we don't say often enough. Over the last 100 years, scientists have been prying cancer's secrets out of the dark one, discovery at a time. And some of the biggest turning points were so world-changing that they earned the Nobel Prize. Today, we're going to travel through a century of breakthroughs, meeting the researchers whose ideas didn't just move science forward, they changed what hope looks like for millions of people. The magic bullet, early 1900s breakthroughs. Our story begins in the early 1900s with a German scientist named Paul Ehrlich, a man obsessed with a bold dream. He imagined a magic bullet, a treatment smart enough to find disease and destroy it, without destroying the patient. At the time, this sounded almost like science fiction. Cancer treatment was mostly surgery, and outcomes were often grim. But Ehrlich's idea planted a seed that would grow into a whole new way of thinking that we now recognize as the foundation of chemotherapy and modern targeted treatments. Not because he cured cancer himself, but because he dared to ask, what if we could aim at the disease with precision? And while Ehrlich was dreaming of chemical weapons, another breakthrough arrived from an entirely different world: physics and chemistry. Marie Curie's work with radioactivity introduced a terrifying but powerful idea. Radiation could destroy tissue. Doctors soon realized that if radiation can burn, it can also burn tumors. By the early 1900s, hospitals were experimenting with X-rays and radium to fight cancers that had once been untouchable. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't safe by today's standards, but it was something new, a weapon. Still, one massive question remained: what causes cancer in the first place? And the next clue came from a chicken: the virus hunter, Peyton Roos, and tumor viruses. In 1911, an American researcher named Peyton Roos stumbled into a discovery that would sound unbelievable even today. A farmer brought him a hen with a tumor. Roos did something simple but fearless. He crushed up the tumor, filtered it so no cells remained, and injected the liquid into healthy chickens. And then it happened. Those healthy chickens developed cancer. That meant the cause was smaller than a cell. Roos suggested the unthinkable: a virus might be able to cause cancer. People didn't want to believe it. It was too strange, too early, too disruptive. His work was brushed aside for years. But later, as more cancer-causing viruses were discovered, the world realized Roos wasn't wrong, he was just decades ahead. Eventually, he received the Nobel Prize long after his original discovery. And the ripple effect was massive, because once you accept that some cancers can start with infections, prevention becomes possible. Decades later, scientists identified human viruses linked to cancer, especially HPV, which can cause cervical cancer. That discovery helped lead to vaccines that now prevent millions of future cancers before they even begin. It all traces back to Roos standing alone, saying, what if cancer can start from something contagious? New weapons, hormones, and chemotherapy. By the mid-1900s, cancer research was speeding up. Doctors weren't just cutting tumors out anymore, they were searching for weaknesses. One of the biggest surprises came from a scientist named Charles Huggins, who discovered something shocking about prostate cancer. It depended on hormones to grow. When hormone signals were reduced, the cancer shrank. It was a breakthrough because it meant some cancers weren't just lumps of bad tissue, some were driven by chemical messages in the body. Change the message, and you could change the disease. Around the same era, a darker chapter of history accidentally sparked another weapon. During World War II, doctors noticed that exposure to certain chemical agents could wipe out fast-dividing cells. It was horrifying, but it sparked an idea. Cancer cells divide quickly. What if a chemical could target that speed? That's how early chemotherapy began. Crude, harsh, and often brutal. But it worked. Some patients went into remission. For the first time, cancer could be beaten back using drugs. And researchers began building smarter medicines and designing treatments more precisely. This era helped turn once fatal childhood leukemias into diseases that could sometimes be cured. But the deeper scientists looked, the clearer it became. To truly understand cancer, they had to understand what was happening inside the cell, inside the DNA. Cancer's genetic revolution. In the 1970s, the story of cancer took a dramatic turn. Two scientists, J. Michael Bishop and Harold Varmus, made a discovery that changed everything. Some cancer-causing genes weren't foreign. They weren't invaders. They were our own genes. Genes that normally help cells grow and repair could be switched on in the wrong way or mutated and become dangerous, like a normal tool turning into a weapon. This led to the concept of proto-oncogenes, normal genes that can become cancer-driving genes when corrupted. Suddenly, cancer wasn't a mystery curse. It was a problem of biology gone off the rails. A gas pedal gene stuck on, a brake gene failing, damage piling up over time. And this genetic blueprint opened the door to a new dream. If we can identify what mutation is driving a tumor, maybe we can design a drug that targets that exact weakness. That idea is the ancestor of modern targeted cancer therapy, unlocking immortality, telomerase, and cell aging. Even with genes explained, one question still haunted researchers. Why do cancer cells seem endless? Normal cells have limits. They divide a certain number of times, and then they slow down, age, and stop. Cancer cells don't. The answer came from the very tips of our chromosome structures called telomeres, like protective caps. Over time, those caps shorten. It's part of how cells keep track of age. But scientists discovered an enzyme, telomerase, that can rebuild those caps. And cancer cells often hijack telomerase, essentially cheating the clock. They keep their caps intact and just keep dividing. This revealed something chilling. Cancer isn't only about growth, it's also about escaping the rules of aging. And understanding that immortality trick gave scientists another target. What if we could shut down telomerase in tumors and force cancer cells to run out of time? Unleashing the immune system, modern immunotherapy. Now we reach one of the most dramatic revolutions of all immunotherapy. For years, doctors knew the immune system could sometimes recognize cancer. But tumors are clever. They hide. They are confused. They even shut the immune response down. Then two scientists, James Allison and Tasuku Honjo, discovered why. Immune cells have built-in brakes, safety systems that prevent them from attacking the body too aggressively. Cancer learned how to exploit those brakes. Allison focused on a brake called CTLA-4. Honjo discovered another called PD-1. Their idea was brilliantly simple. Don't attack the tumor directly. Instead, release the brakes on the immune system. When this worked in patients, it looked like miracles. People with advanced cancers and people who were out of options saw tumors shrink. Some saw them disappear. It didn't work for everyone. It wasn't a magic cure. But it proved something historic. The human body already has an army capable of fighting cancer. Sometimes it just needs permission to attack. So look at what changed in just over a century. We went from almost no understanding of cancer to identifying causes like viruses, learning how hormones feed tumors, designing chemicals to kill fast-growing cells, mapping cancer's genetic switches, uncovering the immortality tricks of telomerase, and finally unleashing the immune system itself. Each Nobel-level discovery didn't just add information. It changed what was possible. And today, researchers are combining these strategies, targeted drugs plus immunotherapy, vaccines plus screening, precision treatment plans built around a tumor's DNA. The fight against cancer isn't one breakthrough, it's a chain. And the chain is getting stronger. The story isn't over. But for the first time in history, it truly feels like cancer is being cornered. If this journey inspired you, hit like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who loves science or someone who needs hope. Stay curious, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one.